Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Peter J. Redding, and I am here to support you in finding out, actually not finding out, but rediscovering and being your awesome core self. How's that? If you love being your core self, you are in exactly the right place. We are going into a Q&A session today around process number 4. Process number 4 is a 30, it says 30 days, or I gave you a bonus, 31-day tracking process. So you can do this on a month-by-month basis, and I highly encourage you to do so. We talked about the mechanics of this earlier in episode number, I want to say episode number 5, I believe. So if you have not listened to that yet, or if you have not gone through episode number 2, in the actual self-discovery process, you may want to go back and do that actually before you listen to this one. So with that, welcome. I have been working on being involved with following, studying. How does one be themselves? It sounds such a basic question of humanity or human life. It's like so basic, and yet it has profounded millions, I would say billions of people still on the planet that really don't know or have forgotten who they really are, who their creator made them to be. So that's what I'm all about. I've been doing this for the last 36 years personally, the last 26 years professionally as a professional coach trainer, and have trained actually this process or the predecessor to this process for the last 26 years to my coaching students. So welcome. So let me get my PowerPoint up here. So here's a great quote by Eckhart Tolle. It is not uncommon for people to spend their whole life waiting to start living. Eckhart Tolle, German-Canadian teacher, writer, author. You may know him and famous for one of his first books that came out, I think in like 1997, I want to say 1998, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Beautiful human being. Never met the man. I saw him live in La Jolla, California, I think probably in 1996, 97. And he had either just before he had published that or just after he had published The Power of Now. As authentic a human being as they come. So I love his work. I love what he stands for. I love his teachings. It is not uncommon for people to spend their whole life waiting to start living. Wow. My take on this is to begin to live your core self life now, today, right now. It's possible. The juxtaposition here that I get between these two quotes in terms of Eckhart Tolle, who's a fellow 1948 child. I never knew I had that in common with him until I started doing a little research on his background. But the juxtaposition between these two is that, yeah, we are told who we're supposed to be from the time that we're born, maybe even before we're born, right? Doctor does a sonogram and says, yep, you're gonna have a male child or a female child. And so we start getting categorized from in utero. When we're born, then we're told how to live life, what to do, what not to do, what's acceptable in that part of society or that culture that I'm born into, and what's not. And it continues, this did for me with all of my education. My teachers told me, here's a right way to do things, here's the wrong way to do things, and so on and so forth. So by the time I'm 25 years old, I don't know who I am. I have forgotten my innate magnificence, my innate core self, because I'm trying to live according to the parameters, guidelines, conditioning, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable by my surroundings. And I talk a lot of, about that a lot. And to Eckhart Tolle's point, I'm at that point, I am going through life maybe robotically, maybe cautiously, but I don't even know who I am, let alone how to live that. My journey, my work for the last 26 years has been, here's a way to do it. Here's a way to understand it. Here's a way to follow it. The exercise today is really profound, in that it's a tracking system day by day, that tracks the things that I'm doing, the things that I am practicing on a day-to-day basis, and calibrating it, if you will, to that core self definition that I have rediscovered within myself. And those are your words. Those are not my words. Those aren't being dictated to you back in process number 1, when you go through that self-discovery process, or rediscovery process, I should rename it. Those are your words. That's what's inside of you. Always has been, is now, always will be. Yeah. So welcome. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these slides. These are the ones that I used back in episode number 5, I believe, going through the self-discovery, or going through the 31-day tracking process. But I do, let me just switch right on over to the Excel spreadsheet. Let's see if that's going to be. So in the Excel spreadsheet, there is 3. Let me just get this back up here for myself. Oops. So there's 3 sheets in this. There's the daily tracking instruction sheet that you can see here. Process number 4. After you've completed process number 1, the self-discovery, and prior to you to work with this worksheet, get that out in the lower left-hand corner of this sheet, which is, I'm referring to this back down in here. Okay. It says daily tracking instructions. This will describe how to form your own unique customized sheet for yourself. The second sheet is an example of a 31-day, just starting out in terms of what it might look like. And if I scroll up on this and over, so the first column up here, just again as a reminder from those of you that have already watched that one, and I'm going to open this up to questions soon. If you have any questions right now, put them into the chat box. We're live on YouTube. You can do it on the chat box there, or you can do it within the inner circle here within the Zoom. But type in your questions around anything that has to do with process number 4. In these sections here, rating them on my own assessment for the day. Just how did I feel at the end of the day? I recommend that you do this at the end of each day. So at the end of day 1 in this particular month, okay, so we're in October, so this is October 1st for me, perhaps. I'm gonna put in there from 1 to 10. I put a 3. Okay, so 3 means, I did okay today. I wasn't real happy with some of the things that went across, my day's events. So that just a general feeling, right? That's just a general feeling type of thing. So I put a 3 up there under day 1, first of whatever month that you're doing this in. Over here on the left-hand column, I have attitudes, beliefs, convictions, dispositions, energy, focus, gratitude, and habits. All right, so I just alphabetically, just because I thought it was clever. But you can use one or all of those. You can use one of each of those in yours. You can use attitudes and have 8 different attitudes that you want to practice during the course of the month. These you would do presumably the first day of the month, or maybe the last day of the last month, to kind of get ready for this month. But you can choose whichever you'd like, whichever best serves you. And then what kind of attitude do you want to put in here that you want to focus on and track for those next 30 days, right? So here I'm going to put plus, positive. And then each day I'm going to put a symbol or a letter or a number into each of these here in terms of how well did I do with that particular exercise, that particular attitude on that particular day. So if you just scan across here, I've got Y for yes. I think I was. The next day I put a no in there for not really, or not very well. Or a dashed line or a dotted line kind of sideways. Maybe a happy face. Again, a number from 1 to 10, I could do that. And that, again, a Y, happy face, and so on. So all of these symbols here are totally up to your creativity. And it's just a way for you to track, how is this going for me? How is it having a positive attitude for the first week of October? On the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, that I've got demonstrated here as an example. And you keep doing that over the course of the 30 or 28 or 30 or 31 days of that particular month, to practice those attitudes, or to practice those focuses, or to practice those habits. And again, this is totally up to you. You get to put anything you want on these portions here. Now, in lines 15, 16, and 17, these 3 here, based on everything that was going on today, on a scale of 1 to 10, how aligned were you today, just today, with my core values, 1 to 10? And so I gave myself a 10 here on the 1st. I gave myself a 7 here on the 2nd of October. I gave myself a 6 on the 3rd of October, and so on. You can see the numbers here. And these, don't put any symbols in here. Only put in a number from 1 to 10. Because these will be calculated. All of these ones up here in the yellow boxes are not calculated, or those are just for your information. The numbers up here in column, row number 5. So I'm talking about these numbers up here, row number 5, and rows 15, 16, and 17 will all be used to calculate how aligned are you with your core self. 16 is aligned today with my life purpose. So I read my life purpose. I look at my life purpose, say, how much have I contributed to that? How much have I been aligned with living my life purpose today? Again, on the 1st of October, 2021. That's the month I'm working on. And again, you just see my arbitrary scores down here. For example purposes, I gave myself a 3 on the 1st. I gave myself an 8. I was contributing, maybe 80% or 8 out of 10 for my contribution that particular day on the 2nd of October, 4, 9, 2, 10, 10, so on, right? And then finally, the core strengths that I have was these are my best way of doing things, right? Those are my natural gifts and talents, God-given, if you will, gifts and talents. How much was I employing those, using those to accomplish what I was trying to accomplish today? And again, you'll just see numbers 3, 6, 8, 9, 3, and so on and so forth. Now, if I scroll down here on this screen, and this again is my second worksheet down on the bottom of the sheet here. So we're actually on, here's the first one. I'm going to toggle to that. The second one is the red one. It says 31-day sample. That's the sample that we've been doing. And we're going to get to the green one here in terms of your actual one that you will be using. But the second sheet down here at the bottom of the page, bottom left-hand corner, these, all the numbers that I had up there in the number 5, okay, this column here, where I've got the 3, 6, 5, 8, 2, 9, 8 for those particular days. And then the numbers that I just put into this that we just talked about, those are going to calculate down to these 2 columns on the bottom in rows 18 and 19. 18 reads my CoreSELF's daily calculated alignment score. So that takes basically these 3 CoreSELF components, elements, my core values, my life purpose, my core strengths. And I'm at 51%. Okay. And again, that's a weighted average that we've talked about in previous sessions. So I'm not going to talk a lot about that here. But okay, not bad. Not particularly spectacular either. Kind of middle of the road, 51% calculates that, Peter, on the 1st of October, 2021, you were congruent, you were aligned with how your creator created you. And if you will, you were utilizing 51% of your God-given endowments. Wow. Now, for those of you that are quantitative, you're going, woohoo, I love this. For those of you that aren't quantitative, this will be automatically done for you. So you don't have to calculate it. But this is previously I've talked about, kind of naming this the passionometer, meaning when I am fully congruent with my God-given values, purpose, gifts, I am just living life to its fullest. And I'm contributing my unique self to the fullest. So if you want to call it a passionometer, please do. Right here, it's in terms of the total alignment score with my core self, 51%. Again, not awful. It's a lot higher than I was when I was, 35 years old. Guarantee that. And it is a brilliant kind of representation that is based on and tied to my innermost being, my most authentic self. That's the beauty of this thing. Okay, on the second, you'll see there next to the 51%, I got 73%. Woohoo! All right, doing great.
Later.
The third one is 54%. I'm getting some feedback from Charles. If you could mute yourself, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. The next one is 84%. Okay, good day. Anything close to 85% for me nowadays is wow. My goal, I guess, is to be 100%, but again, I'm human. I get upset. I sway away from my core, wonderful, awesome self. So don't beat yourself up with this tool, please. Do not beat yourself up. Just, okay, point of information. I can do better. I know I can do better tomorrow. And let me try, okay? The other feedback, this is part of the feedback mechanism, is maybe next month I want to focus on, if I go up here and look at some of these habits or focuses or energy or dispositions and so on, whichever ones I've chosen for that particular month, And I see a series of either unhappy faces or low numbers or little arrows that are going, yeah, well, it's kind of, I went downhill today. Then those are the ones that I might want to practice more of next month and put more of those kinds of things in there. Some of those things could be physical things, physical habits. Getting 7 hours of sleep is one of mine. Am I being good to myself that way? Or am I, if you will, cheating myself and saying, yeah, well, okay, I'll just stay up another couple of hours to get this done. And, I get 5 hours of sleep and then the next day I'm not feeling particularly great. No, that's just one of mine. I need 7 hours of sleep, period. All right. If it's 7.5 or 8, all the better, but 7 minimum. So it's a great feedback mechanism. Now, the other thing, the last one here is very interesting, I found, and this is actually a new part of this graph. I haven't really taught this part in the last 25 years, but added it here within the last 6 months. Is myself, row 5, and my CoreSELF, row 18, daily correlation. Daily correlation means first thing I do at the end of the day is put this kind of, here's how I feel about today type of score. And it's not calculated. It's not, computed like we did at the bottom of the sheet here, but just my general assessment of today. My general assessment today is, how did I show up? How much of my core self, if I look through that kind of parameter, how much of my core self was showing up today? 3. Yeah. It wasn't completely awful. There were sparks of, the real true self, Peter Redding, showing up in today's events, conversations, interchanges with different people, general attitude that I was carrying around in my head. But it wasn't great. So I'll give myself a 3. Okay. So now, after I've gone through and marked all of the things that I wanted to focus on specifically on that particular day in this particular month for the things I've written out here, and then I've calculated, or I've put down here specifically, when I look at my core values, how many of those were showing up? Again, life purpose, natural gifts and talents. What happens is that I gave that comes out to like a 51%. Or half, right? Of like the equivalent of a 5 or 5.1. I gave myself a 3. So how does that correlate? Am I being truthful with myself in terms of how much of myself was showing up? And 77%, 100% obviously correlation is the ideal. In terms of, yeah, my perception, my general perception versus my calculated perception match. 100%, they match. To the degree that one is higher or lower than the other, then it is not as correlated as if it was 100% to 100% or 1 to 1. So this one down here, 77%. Okay, so basically my general attitude or feelings towards life is relatively close to the calculated one down here of CoreSELF. Now, if I go across here, you'll notice, let me see if I can pick one up that is, okay, on the 5th, I gave myself a 2. The calculated version on day, what was that? Day 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Day 5 was, 3 alignment with values, 2 alignment with purpose, and 3 alignment with my natural gifts and talents, or 25%, which is calculated. My correlation is actually higher, even though the scores are lower, at 94%, meaning that, yep, when I said generally the day was a not great at all, a 2 up here, The calculations down here in terms of my actual alignment came out to 25%, or 2.5, if you will, which is a 94% correlation. In other words, my general feeling of what's going on inside of me is matching the calculated version, which means that and here's the interesting part of this correlation figure. I think people actually know to what degree they have been their true self, even if they have not even heard these terminology of true self, life purpose, natural gifts and talents. They have not articulated that. They have a gut feel of, why am I so miserable? Or at the end of the day going, wow, today was a great day. I can't necessarily, again, like if I go back to 37 years old, I could not have articulated any of this. But seeing it there in front of me, black and white. All right, so there's some nice colors in here. It's not black and white, but you get the idea. It just makes so much sense that my inner intuition, my inner knowingness, my inner guidance, when I am on track and being myself, I have a sixth sense of knowing that. And that's what the correlation numbers do on 19 on the bottom here. It's a validation of that gut feel. When I'm feeling great, you know what? I pretty much was. When I wasn't so great, you know what? Pretty much I wasn't. So that's what that is. All right, so let me see if I can come up to some questions here and see if there's any. Okay, yeah, we got some piled up here. Let me see if I can get through them. From Jen, anyone can answer the following. Is this for us to take as coaches or for us to give to our clients? The answer is yes and yes. Any human being that wants to have a higher level of awareness and consciousness about how they're living their life and being able to support that consciousness, this is a brilliant tool to do it with. I can also provide this as a professional coach to my client with my client's permission. I have a tool that if you'd like to use that will add on to the work that we did in our foundation session. Now, for those of you that aren't coaches, I'm going to use some terminology here and give you a quick description of what that is. But all the coaches that I've trained, for the last 25 years, we've always started with a foundation session and getting to know the client. Well, the number one thing that supports me as a professional coach and my coaching students and graduates is, who are they really? Not who do they think they are or been told who they are, but digging down deeper into the core self. That's why I love the name of this thing, CoreSELF. Finding out who they really are and having them articulate that. The coach does not dictate to them who they are, tell them who they are, tells them who they think they are. The coach will take them through this process, the discovery process, or a longer version of it that we train as from our coaching for our coaches. And so once we have that in place, then we can support the client and ask them, if you're interested in doing a 30-day tracking or monthly tracking, I have a really cool tool. Yes. Now, beyond Jen's question is, anyone that you do the core self-discovery with, or give them that process to go through for themselves. All of these can be done by yourself, by the way. So send them to CoreSELFie.com. It's this right down below here, right below my picture, all right, CoreSELFie.com. Oh, it's covered up with the graphic. Well, anyhow, CoreSELFie.com. They can go all through these things and self-administered, self-validated, self-discovery. And if you have a coach, even that's even all the better, because then they can actually talk about it with your coach. Yeah, great question, Jen. Thank you for that. Vivek is saying both, yeah, and give it free to your clients. Yes. Where did you get the sheets? Okay, we just answered that one for everybody. CoreSELFie.com. There's a link. It'll appear later in the session. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Peter. All right. And there it is there from Awesome Cello. CoreSELFie.com. Great. Thanks. Got it. And download into free resources. There you go. All right. So that answers all those questions. Super duper. Thank you for that. Now, let me go to the last sheet here. And again, this is at the bottom of the sheet, the bottom left-hand corner of the Excel spreadsheet. Again, the ones that Jen has just been asking about here, and Vivek and Cello has been giving directions on how to find it. Basically, this one, the download of the Excel spreadsheet will have those three options down here in the bottom left-hand corner. Click on the third one. It says 31-day tracking process. This will be 100% completely blank. Okay. All of the numbers that I have in here, I put these in last night just to get ready for this session. But all of these will be blank, just like from, day 4 back through 31 up here. So again, like we just talked about, what have I got up there? 3 for the first day, 6 for the second day, 5 for the third day. I want to know if there's a volunteer that has a good audio connection today, and just kind of go through this as an example that's willing to do it for, we are publicly live streaming right now. So it has to be something that you're willing to share authentically, but also willing to have it be go out to the public domain. So if there's anybody that's inside the Zoom room right now that can do that real time, happy to go through this. If you have any questions about this, we can talk about them as we go through it. Just put something in the chat box. Say, yeah, happy to volunteer, Peter, or love to, or prefer not, whatever. So while you're thinking about that, I will go through what I've put in here. And I would have filled out these columns, these rows 7 through 14 over here at the beginning of the month. So I just chose a core value. One of my core values is connected. I want to kind of practice and see, do that over the course of the month of October 2021, right? Habit. I'm going to put one of my habits in there to kind of keep track of that. An attitude. What kind of attitude do I want to embody or have or demonstrate during the course of every day during the month, or to what degree? Life purpose. So I filled out first 4 out of the 8 for sample purposes here in this room, this space, this Q&A session. So for core values, okay, we got connected in here. Just type that in. And let me just demonstrate here too. If it wasn't connected, I'll just take another one. I'll put freedom and just show you freedom. Okay. So these are spaces for you to fill out. This is not preordained, predetermined. Habit, I have here 7 hours of sleep. Again, one of my all-time favorite ones. Get 7 hours of sleep, I'm good to go. If I don't get 7 hours of sleep, it's a draggy kind of a day. That's not that, yeah. But again, if I want to change a habit, it could be any habit. It could be hydrate. Okay. And I'll just put 2 liters as, 2 liters of water. And I'll put that in there. All right, 2 liters. Did I have 2 liters of water and that day? Yes or no, or to what degree? If I had a liter, then I might put a, let's say I'll put a, let's just, let me come out here today. What's today? I think today's like 13. No, it's 12, I think. Yeah, I think it's 12. So at the end of today, let's say that I say, today was a good day. I felt like about an 8. Okay, so an 8, and enter an 8 in here. But did I practice my value of freedom and freedom of speech and sharing publicly and like live streaming as an example, like right now? And I go, yep. And then the rest of the day, pretty much good. I give myself a 9 for that. Good job, Peter. Now, this can be a happy face. And so on the bottom here, there's a whole bunch of symbols here. And again, for the yellow to the yellow, and that's why I've got that kind of coordinated the way I do. I'm going to take a happy face, control copy. And I'm going to put a happy face in there for my hydration. Attitude, positive focus. Yep. I'm going to put a happy face in there for that one. What's the next one? Try to read it here. Oh, my life purpose. Did I contribute my life purpose today? Yeah, big time. So I'm gonna actually put in a let me put a big up arrow for that one. Control copy. Put this in here. Control V. Okay. And again, these are just symbols or numbers in this yellow spot, just for my amusement. It's not going to get calculated. I can't calculate a happy face and an arrow and get an arithmetic version of this. Yeah. So down here, then, to what degree was I aligned with my values? A 9. My life purpose, give myself a 10. And natural gifts and talents, I'm going to give myself about a 7 on that one, because a couple of them I didn't use, but a lot of them I did. And so that calculates out to 91%. Cool. Wow. Yay. And then celebrate. If you're a journaler, this is a great way to, take it off. And, today I came in at 91% on my CoreSELF. Woohoo. Is that awesome or what? Correlation. Oh, I'm in a different day. That's why. That's what happened there. Okay, so let's move this over. Correlation was 1. I go, oh, geez, it's kind of hoping for something better than that. So let me move this over a day. Put the same scores in. Hip hip hooray! So I'm still at 91%. Weighted average of Peter Redding was living his core self 91 percentile out of 100 for today, the 12th. Wow. Hip hip hooray. And what did I do? I gave myself an 8 up here. So my correlation is 88%. Okay, so I was a little bit probably reserved or humble up here. Right. So 88% correlation, that's really good. Again, internally, I knew it was a good day. I just didn't realize how good of a day it was according to my CoreSELF. But now look at this. If I go back and if I were to change that, I'm going to change it to a 9. And my calculated version of how much I'm aligned today is 91%. The correlation is 99%. It's almost 100%, right? So that's how this whole thing operates. And I'm going to take these. These are just danglers there. Let me delete those. Get rid of that. Yeah. All right. So when I come back up to questions, Sanjeev's got, can I put all my core values like natural gifts, talents, life purpose in Excel and track for a month? You could just, what you could do is, let's see, what would you do? In this particular format, you probably couldn't do that because there's 8 spaces up here for example, like core values. You could put in like, maybe your top 3 core values, core value 1, put it there, core value 2, fill it in, core value 3, fill it in. Life purpose, yeah. And then put the beginning of your I am statement in here. May not be the whole thing because you got just a limited amount of space to get it all on one sheet is the way I designed it. And natural gifts and talents, yeah. Or core strengths, core strength number 1, put it in, core strength number 2, core strength number 3, core strength number 4, and get a bunch of those in there and then track those and see, yeah, how did each one of those individually come through on that particular day? Yeah, it'd be spectacular. All of these could be habits. All of these could be attitudes. All of these could be beliefs. You know, is this a life affirming belief? And to what degree did I live according to that life affirming belief today? This is so powerful and so open-ended. You can create it in your own image. And so like Sanjeev's talking about here, can I go back to the core of my core self, core values? NG and T's for everybody means natural gifts and talents, kind of a shorthand version of core strengths. LP is life purpose, and put those into the Excel spreadsheet for the month. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, yeah, and the daily scores go in obviously daily. All right. Super. Here's the other thing you can do. If you're really, really into this, is you could have 3 or 4 of these planning tracking forms in any given month. So maybe this one that we're going through now is my physical habits: sleeping, hydration, exercise, diet. What am I putting into my body? And have it be 100% on the physical. And so, and for exercise, it might be, I'm doing several things a day. I want to walk around the block. I want to walk 2 kilometers today or a mile today. I want to do some run. I want to do Pilates. I want to do yoga. I want to do something that is physically demanding or generative for my physical well-being. And you could have 8 different things in this particular chart that we're looking at right now, and then have another whole spreadsheet, right? The second one, you can download this and duplicate it as many times as you want. So you may have 3 or 4 of these going on during the month. One could be work related or professional related. You know, am I a team player today? Was I uplifting the people around me? Was I supporting them and championing them? There's just so many ways that you can use this tracking system that is a benefit to you. So you can mix and match on one of them, or you can have 3 or 4 different charts that are going across for the month. I encourage you to do this on your computer or your laptop, whatever that you can actually physically put into it so that it records it, as opposed to making a paper copy of this and just writing it in there, because then you lose the calculating of impact of the 2 in the bottom in terms of daily alignment, as well as the daily correlation. Yeah. So I highly recommend that you do it in a digital form. Now you could take it, if you want it, if you're not digitally inclined, or you don't like digital, or it's just you didn't have access to it that particular day or moment. You could do this in, you know, pen and paper, write it in, and then have you know, enter it at the end of the month or halfway through the month and see how you're doing. So you get those automatic calculations down there in rows 18 and 19. These are the ones down here. If you do this in person, that's not going to let me highlight it. But anyhow, these are the ones that are auto calculated down the bottom here. So please use this any way that you want it. And again, please let people know about this. If you're going to be giving this away, and I encourage you to do that, and you have my full permission to do that, as you know, make sure that they go through self-discovery process number 1 first. Otherwise, they're going to be putting in their society values or their conditioned beliefs. The only way you get ahead in life is to work hard. Okay, that was a conditioned belief that I had early in life because that's the way I was brought up. Yeah, you can't get ahead unless you work really hard and sacrifice. That was my programming. I particularly don't like sacrificing. I really like living according to my core strengths, my life purpose, doing the work that I'm here to do. Again, those are the life affirming core self beliefs that I've come to, as opposed to doing things that I don't like doing, that I'm not particularly well equipped to do. Life's gotten a whole lot easier, All right. Any other questions about anything that we've talked about today? From is this making sense? Give me a smiley face. Give me oh my God, Peter, you're such a genius. Thank you so much for being on the planet. Anything like that, type that in the chat box. Oh, I got a double happy face from Vivek. Thank you, Vivek. Okay, we got a long share in here from Charles. Your brilliant CoreSELF process is a graduate level system for conscious self-awareness, and success. Let me expand this just so I can read it easier. Yeah. Awareness and success in discovering and fulfilling one's ultimate destiny. It is light years beyond Ben Franklin's 13 virtues and daily retrospection chart, to which he attributed much of his success. Interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen Ben Franklin's 13 virtues and daily retrospection chart, but it sounds like it would have been, a predecessor to what I'm trying to accomplish with this, which he attributed much of his success. However, given how detailed and intricate the process is, it might be helpful to reaching a core self-discovery for dummies type introduction to help folks realize how the outcomes are definitely worth the investment of time and energy to partake of the, oops, what happened? Here we go. Partake of the life-changing gift you are sharing. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. This is very intricate, very detailed, and that's why I wanted to do a Q&A session today on it, and why I did a session number 5 on it initially. Oh, he's got some more here. Okay, intricate process that might be helpful in reaching 1 billion people to offer the core self-discovery for dummies. Oh, got it. Okay, I just missed that piece earlier. Got it. Yeah, thank you, Charles. Thank you. And I'm gonna look up Ben Franklin, see what he had to say about it, because they say there's no new information under the sun, and so this is maybe just an iteration of things that have gone on before. When do you offer this to a client when they ask what? Again, for coaching purposes, I would say when a client is saying, I just, some days I just feel really great, and some days I don't feel real great. And you can say, well, I have actually I have access to a public available tracking process that anybody can have access to. It's for free. And then, yeah. But I don't necessarily, in coaching is a little more strict in terms of not leading, not telling clients what to do or how to do it. And at the same time, the clients that are attracted to Coach for Life graduates, professional coaches, tend to be more conscious and want to do deeper work. So you might even include this as part of the foundation process, the foundation session process, after you've done the self-discovery with them. You can say, use this or not. It's up to you. If you are, then you can give them the video links to YouTube, because all these are recorded for public consumption. And they can download it there, and they can listen to this particular session or the previous one that I talked specifically about, the 31 day tracking. Yeah. Super duper. Thank you for that question, Jen. And I see Vivek has also shared his opinion. After individuals taken through the self-discovery process, and likely when a client wants to go deeper into the aspects of life. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? If not, we'll wrap it up. Any other reflections, or what did you learn today? If there's no other questions, what did you learn today? And type that into the chat box. Jen saying that this tool actually exists. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great start right there. Thank you, Jen. One thing for sure, it reiterates within my own self, the simplicity of life. Wow. Yeah, it doesn't have to be very complicated. That comes from Vivek. Thank you, Vivek. From Charles, that I am even more dedicated and honored to help share it with the world. Wow, thank you. Yeah. Charles, I've known Charles, I don't know for how many years, how many decades actually now, probably 3 decades. And he is a man of, he's a international world-changing visionary. He just is. Has such a huge heart of wanting people to live a more complete, fulfilled destiny. Yeah, yeah. That is available to every human being. All right, so with that, I'm going to wrap it up then. Thank you so much. I can track my being self alignment with doing on everyday basis, Sanjeev said. Yeah, this is a doing and being, again, which I'm a huge advocate of, not just a do, or not even, frankly, just a BBB, but a doobie-doobie-doo. And so it is a tool that can be used both for being and doing. Yeah. Yeah, great insight, actually, Sanjay. I hadn't thought about that aspect of this tool, but it actually can be. And again, on a daily basis, kind of again, self-calibration. Am I on track? So it's called a tracking process. Am I on track being myself, being authentic to myself, core self, and then in the process of also doing that. Next week, let me come back over to PowerPoint and go all the way down to the end of this. Again, we've talked about this extensively here. Please give this to everybody that you know and love and care about. Give it freely. It's being given to you at no cost. You're not paying for this other than with your time and energy and brilliance. And please give it in that same energy to everybody around you. Next week, we're going to wrap up this series 5. We're going to be going into episode number 11, which will be the last one in series 5. And we're going to be talking about and having a QA session around the 2 assessments, the 10-level assessment and the mastery assessment. These are processes number 5 and number 6, which again are available on CoreSELF, CoreSELFie.com. And we'll wrap it up. We'll then take a week off because I'll be doing a session with the International Coaching Federation's 2021 Converge. And I'm going to be the panel leader for a discussion with coach trainers on the, I forget the exact date, but anyhow, 2 weeks from today. And then we'll pick up after that, continuing in the theme of core self-mastery. And we'll be talking about a book I wrote back, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 years ago now, Positively Brilliant Self-Mastery, Positively Brilliant Self-Mastery. And there's 21 principles in this book. We'll go through one of them a week. Which will take us probably till the end of the year or into next year even. So that's the journey ahead. I welcome all of you to come back and participate in all of those sessions, wrapping up series 5. And then we'll go into series 6 a couple of weeks after that, starting with episode number 1, your infinite divine nature, your infinite divine nature. That says we are connected to an infinite and life-affirming divine source. Okay, if you're interested in deeper dive into core self, into self-mastery, you've tuned into the right channel, and I would love to have you for all of that. So there you are. With that, I'm going to say goodbye. Stay safe. Namaste, my good friends. Bye for now.